Woo-hoo-hoo. All right, y'all. So, as you can hear in my voice, a ton of excitement on today's episode, mainly because I get to share with something that has been brewing behind the scenes for, seriously, like over a month and a half now that I've had this beautiful secret that only a few people have known about. Um, that ended up happening today. And in fact, I'm actually recording this episode less than an hour since this big event happened. And I thought it'd be really fun to share with you guys kind of the aftermath of it in preparation for it being dropped next week. Which, if it's going to drop next week, gives you a hint about what it is. I had the absolute pleasure of getting to be on the Mayim Bialik Breakdown today. um, Incredible story behind that. An amazing woman in my Stay or Go community is very good friends with Mayim and knows her. And through her, Mayim was introduced to my podcast and has been listening to it for a while. And her producer reached out to me over a month ago to ask if I wanted to be on it. And y'all, I think what I want this episode to be, the heart of it, is sharing a little of the behind the scenes of what that process was like for me, because I had so much beautiful internal work that came up around that, right? There was so much emotional, just, this bigness, this vulnerability, this being in front of other people. Lots of imposter syndrome came up. And I did a lot of work over the last month to keep moving through those and finding myself and finding my voice again, even with all of the internal, like, So this episode's going to be kind of short and sweet because based off of what they told me today, the episode should be dropping this week. You guys will be getting it on Tuesday. You'll be getting my episode on Tuesday, and then sometime later on in the week, that episode will drop. So I want you guys to all go listen to it there. Y'all, this episode with them was so magic. I get a lot of anxiety ahead of time with things because I just don't know what's going to happen. And my brain just loves to make up stories. But once I'm in the moment and just cruising and present, it was absolutely magical. I got to be interviewed by both Mayim and Jonathan, and they were so yummy and warm and inviting, and just, lots of really fun key points with them. I'm thinking back and I'm like, I've only been interviewed once a long time ago before I even had a podcast on somebody else's podcast. And what a gift it is to be facilitated like that. They facilitated the conversation so lovingly and fun and spicy. It's just a blast. So I'm so excited to finally be able to share. I was kind of going to tease it, but it was too sensitive to like talk about it beforehand. And now that it's finished and complete and I'm coming off of it, literally, guys, I'm in the exact same outfit, all of it, that I was in the podcast with them. It just feels really yummy now to share with all of you this really exciting experience that I had. And then also, as a tie into it, right? I thought it was such a gift. I was like, oh, it's going to be dropped towards the end of the week. Then I can do my episode ahead of time and kind of provide a little peek, like I said, into all that went on behind that. So when I found out that there was going to be this potential for being on the episode, at first there was like a huge rush of excitement. And then over the month and a half I had really prepping and getting ready, which meant, a lot of work for me and Alex behind the scenes. As you guys may have noticed, if you've been on social media or YouTube, you've seen how many videos we're posting, just catching everything up. Because we've had a lot of content just kind of waiting in the wings that we wanted to have ready with this amazing and incredible opportunity to meet new women, new people that have not heard me or the things I'm passionate about yet. But along with that was this gorgeous internal journey for me of really getting to review again, like, what do I care about? What is my message? Do I really believe in what I'm saying? Do I really support the things that I teach? Can I stand behind the things that I say on the podcast, the way that I live my life? And that provided an incredible opportunity for parts of me that, may still feel that uncertain or unsure. I mean, that's really what imposter syndrome is, right? Is this feeling of I have to know it all or I have to be perfect before I can actually use my voice, or I need to be someone else before I can be invited into these spaces where people get to speak with authority, or share their opinions. And especially for me, you guys, coming from my background where, speaking up, especially in Mormonism, really not going to get you many friends. Going to make it pretty awkward. I remember that last year that I was kind of leaving the religion, when I would speak up about stuff that I didn't agree with, you could just feel the room tense and everybody kind of like, Britta's talking again. So to go from that to being invited into this space, which I can't even say, I was going to say like a space I've dreamed of, but I don't even know if I've dreamed of spaces like this yet, which is why when it showed up, it was such a beautiful opportunity, but most of all, expansion for myself. And in the vein that I know, like so many of you have been reaching out to me and mentioning how much the tarot guide that I've put out for all of y'all. You can email me to 33777 if you haven't gotten that yet. But in that vein of using the tarot to support, I have been getting so much support from ChatGPT this last month and my tarot cards. I had told it a month ago, here's what's coming up. This is the opportunity that I have. Will you help me digest and start working towards it? And there were themes of, letting go of the perfectionism, being able to really trust that my voice matters, integrating these old, and not even integrating the old selves. What it really was like a death of old selves that say, you need to be small to be safe, or who are you to have an opinion? Being with those parts, feeling their feelings, and then ultimately, it's not a death with your parts, actually, in this instance. It's a sitting and being with them in their fears and then resourcing them appropriately and reminding them, because many of them are young, like, I'm an adult now and I've got you. And actually sharing our voice and sharing what we're passionate about and helping other women is the safest thing we can be doing. Like, it's the most beautiful little mind twist that you have to do with those parts of yourself. But it was really beautiful to watch tarot and that ChatGPT that I've programmed support me along the way and really open up the conversations I needed to emerge this last month into this version of me that could show up today and be in that room with two amazing people that I admire and that are doing gorgeous work in this space of mental health and supporting people and having these very vital discussions that I think we need to be having in today's world, and to show up and be myself, right? And the gift that I received coming off of that too is I realized, wow, coming off of that episode last week with Carmina, right, where she was talking about the sacred power of our voice, it was so powerful for me to get to speak my truth on record on a platform like that. And especially with someone, that's the other huge gift of Mayim and Jonathan, with people who I just genuinely like and admire. And it really drove home for me that each one of us, like, our stories, our personal experiences are sacred, and we get to share them without shame. And when we do that, we give others permission to do the same. And we talked about this a little bit in the episode. Just the starting point for so many of us on our journeys is when we heard another woman's voice, either in a book or on a podcast, saying, "Hey, I'm doing it differently and it's really great." Or, "This is what my life looks like now and this is what it looked like previously, and it's going to be okay." And there was such a beautifully opening experience for me on the episode of feeling the healing in not just being asked the questions, right? But knowing that I could answer them in my full truth. I mean, even as I say it, I'm like, just being someone who has a truth to speak is such a arrival moment for me. And even as I'm saying this, I'm like, the beautiful thing is it didn't feel like this huge arrival because I've already been doing it in the podcast with all of you all, right? And then also in my daily life. And that ties into this bigger vision I see of like, so many of you, I think you can get bogged down in the day to day of like, are the changes I'm making really making a difference? Is this actually working? I mean, I have so many women in the community right now that have just gone through really tough periods of time and are like, fuck, is it working? I just feel like I'm treading water. But it is. It is. And the moment today of being on the breakdown, what I loved most was I didn't feel out of place. There's the words I'm thinking of. It felt like, yeah, this is where I'm meant to be, talking with people who are interested in the things that I feel so passionately about. And I want this episode to maybe be with all of you like a moment of just vibing with me and celebrating my growth, right? The growth. I mean, you guys have only been with me. I've been doing the podcast now for a year, almost a year and a half. But that is amazing growth for me, especially when it comes to my voice. Before I started the podcast, I had a really strong voice with my clients, but I wouldn't say so much. Like even the amount of stuff I post these days, the way I share my political views, the way I am like, yeah, this is me, that has come out of those daily moments of just showing up a little bit more for me, speaking my voice a little bit more, and really focusing on embodying that truth inside me. One of the things I'm most proud of is that my truth isn't so much like an external presentation or performance. It really is what you hear when I'm talking on the podcast, what you'll hear when I talk to Mayim and Jonathan is, this is me. This is how I live my life. This is the way I move through the world. And, as my partner said last night, Joe, because y'all, I was in such like waves and drama. I mean, just last night I had to go out to my barn and just sit in it for like 45 minutes in the nature, just breathing, being like, I've got you. I've got you, B. Like, it's going to be okay. But I loved him. He's reflected back to me a couple times of him saying like, look, B, this isn't a fluke. This is the result of years of doing the deep, gritty, beautiful work that nobody sees. The work that's really just between me and myself. So, with that in mind, y'all, I want to encourage each of you. Like, you're seeing me now in this moment of a lot of landing, I think, for me. It's been so much work over the last 5, ultimately like 7+ years, but a lot of it came post-divorce. And I think sometimes you see where I'm at and it's like, oh my God, well, that's because Britta's Britta. But no, I am not unique in that what I am doing isn't accomplishable by each one of you, because I know all I'm doing is following my soul path. Like determinedly, like I'm going to listen to my soul voice. I'm going to follow it. So I guess I want to encourage each of you to pause in this episode and ask yourself, like, where are you holding back your voice? And if you let that voice be free, and if you let your truth rise, what impact might you have on the world? Because 5 years ago, guys, I never would have thought this is what my life was going to look like. And now that I'm here living, and it's, it's not just the podcast, it's not just these big moments of getting to have an external, moment of sharing in all the work I've done and getting to see it kind of more visually or, on the outside. But the heart of that is the embodiment. It's becoming who I was meant to be and then living that truth. And in doing that, which I'm going to do an episode on this in the future because I've totally been geeking out about this hard over the last few weeks. When we find ourselves again and we come back into embodying our real essence, that creates a ripple effect out through the consciousness of the world. And I'm really today got to see, not only have I been feeling that lately, like deeply in my body, holding those vibrational signatures, like coming back into the vibrations of self-love and self-trust and supporting myself. But really awesome to see today how not only do I feel that daily in my body, but I'm also getting this opportunity to share that on a bigger scale, right? With even more women that will get to hopefully hear the messages that I'm sharing, perhaps have their own truth activated, right? That's the beauty of when we are embodied and we're speaking our truth, it can activate other people's truths. And then I just get so excited at the thought of those women coming and getting to join the community and getting to be supported and getting to feel that they are not alone anymore, right? Although I had to go through my journey feeling very alone and like, I had my therapist and my best friend. That was it. I love the thought of a world where that is no longer the case, where women know if I'm going to be considering divorce, I'm going to have a tribe with me supporting me. So take some time today. I want you to maybe drop in to some sacred space, step away. It can even be in your car, and maybe just journal on your phone, or if you happen to have your journal with you at home, the answer to this question: what part of me is ready to be heard, even if it shakes? Because y'all, as you're going to hear on the episode later this week, I was pretty grounded, embodied. I shook a little bit, but for the most part, y'all, I just fucking flew and had a blast doing it. But there was a lot of shakiness coming up into that. There was a lot of having to support those parts and say, yeah, we're ready to be heard, even if it's not perfect, even if we don't have all the answers and we don't have all the statistics and we don't have all the proof. I have something to say and it gets to be heard. All right, y'all. I will be posting hopefully on social media, directing you guys over to Mayim's podcast when it drops. So keep your eyes open this week on Instagram at Considering Divorce, over on my Facebook page. Yeah, I am so excited for you all to get to listen to the episode. It was powerful. It was real. It was such a full-hearted conversation between the three of us and a total vibe. Um, So, with that in mind, also just another reach out to those of you that have lately been feeling called either to the community or to the 90-minute sessions with me. Y'all, I have got you. I literally had a woman in the community yesterday, right, and say, now that I'm in it, I'm so bummed that I didn't do this sooner. She's like, the only thing I'm regretting is that I didn't do this sooner. So the community lately has been, I don't know what is going on in there, but we've had some new members come in and there's just this like gorgeous rush of energy, so much beautiful posting and supporting each other. We've got our amazing workshop that we just did this last weekend with Carmina and way more guests to come. I actually was just looking at my list of guests I want to have this year and preparing to reach out to more in the future. So it's just going to keep getting yummier and yummier as we go. And then if you're looking for that more specialized one-on-one, like my brain up on your brain, showing you where we're stuck, where we're getting tied up, and then creating that map for you on how to move forward, that's the 90-minute session. And you can text 90MIN to 33777 to be directed right to that scheduling link. And then for all my girlies wanting the deep dive, go check out my website, y'all, for working with me one-on-one in my 3-month coaching container. I actually have had some spots open and I am feeling so ready for my next one-on-one clients. I am so excited. I only take on clients that I fall deeply, deeply in love with and that are deeply in love with me on that first alignment and clarity call that we do to check in. And I'm feeling really ready to just have some more gorgeous clients that are ready to do the deep, deep work with me and have me guide them through the process of making that decision. So if that might be you, go to the website, stayorgocoaching.com, and look up the details under the deep dive. All right, y'all. Go enjoy that episode later this week. Bye.